Get some of those great photos of real things happening in your district of your kids. Blow those things up poster size and put them all around the office. Because those are those things when, as you said, when you're getting like at your wit's end, when someone's just aggravated you to the umpteenth degree, looking up and seeing that kid smiling, holding their iPad or their Chromebook or doing a flip. All those things are like, oh yeah, that's why I'm doing this work.
Welcome everybody back to season 6 of the UnDisruptEd podcast. I can't believe it. Adam, we're still here after all these years.
Wow, we made it 6 seasons.
I think we lost the bet on that one. I think season 1 was our original bet. I think Sandra Paul out there is probably listening going, yeah, I'm surprised they made it this far too. Not much has changed, or has it, since the last time we spoke, my friend? I think we ended last season in September. It's been an interesting last few months. Anything new in your life? Anything new happening? Your office looks awfully different.
Yeah. I added some new lights in the office. So, that's one thing I had going on. Let's see, what else is going on? Let me think. I left my job.
What?
Yeah. The pull was too strong. I left the Newton County School District, and I am now a full-time employee with UnDisruptEd. I am their new director of professional learning and leadership.
Oh, sorry, I left it on. That's awesome. Well, congratulations, my friend, and congratulations to UnDisruptEd and the Future Ready Group. And I think I'm gonna ask you a couple questions as someone who's been out, so to speak, of the industry in terms of a regular day-to-day job. I just do a lot of consulting still with districts, so I get to know some of the stuff that's happening. But what's something you're most excited about not being a full-time school district employee?
Well, one of the things that was the draw for me in this opportunity was the opportunity to do the work that I love to do full time. I enjoyed and loved the work that I was doing in the district, but anyone who's been in the school system knows that you have all that other stuff that goes along with the territory. So this position has now allowed me that opportunity to focus in on supporting leaders, supporting students, not just in my district, but across the country. So, I'm just like so excited to be able to pour my time into doing that work at a larger scale.
That's, I think, the thing that makes most of us leave is that minutia, that red tape, the bureaucracy. That's what gets. I mean, a lot of people out there listening right now are probably nodding their heads, going, "Yeah, if I didn't have that, my life would probably be a lot easier." What about something you're going to miss? What's something you're going to miss about not being in the day-to-day throes of school life?
Well, me and you are similar in this. I think we are people. So being around my team, that's one thing that I really worked on, and I encourage all technology leaders out there to really build a family type feel within your department, within your organization, because these are the people you're going to be with more than your regular family. You see your work family more than you see your regular family. You have more conversations with them about minutia in life than you probably do with your kids. So I think that's the piece I'm going to miss, like during the day, being able to step out of my office and hey guys, let's talk about that episode of Love is Blind, whatever the conversation is. Or
that's what you went with. Love and Blind. That's where you go. I was like, come on, Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, but you got to Love is Blind. Okay.
And you got to remember my office that I worked in. Okay. It was me and some ladies.
Jennifer, Casey, that whole crew. They are an amazing crew. Yeah.
But the funny thing about it, I was joking with somebody. I was like, I guess I got the 7-year itch, because it really was right at 7 years that I made this switch. So it's really great that I'm able to move into this capacity. And I encourage anyone who is in the district, definitely, put your work into where you are, put your work into your craft, but don't put yourself in a position where if an opportunity presents itself, you're not ready for it. So always continue to grow. You want to be the best version of yourself in your capacity, in your role, in your district. We want good people to stay in their roles and in their districts. But Also be ready for whatever opportunity presents itself, because you never know what the next opportunity may be. It may be within your district as a deputy superintendent or superintendent or whatever the case may be, but you have to make sure that you're working on different things. And so that's one of the things that I love. And here's a shameless plug for the work we do at Future Ready. We have these leadership cohorts. Just finished one up in Connecticut, and we're going to be starting up another one in the spring, and we're doing a national cohort. So really building those leadership skills, that project planning, that long range thinking around the Future Ready framework. And those are things that we encourage all of our leaders, not just technology leaders, but all leaders to be able to do, to really prepare us for things that are changing, because it's changing all the time. We always think things are over, but then are they ever over?
Very impressive that in only 3 weeks you're already a company shill. That's good. Oh no, yes. I'm just joking. I do also work with Future Ready and Alpharetta. I love. There's so many organizations out there. I think the fact that you ended up in this one, which you and I, of course, known for a long time, and we see the background, what's happening behind the scenes, and Leah and Sarah and the whole team, Nancy, the whole group, Tom, everybody that does all the work behind it. I mean, what a great landing spot for you. I would be lying if I didn't say I was jealous. Tom, I'm coming for your job next. Oh, sorry, I put that out there.
But here is the really dope thing about this position. In the job, each month I get 8 hours to work in a school.
I love that.
Paid time on the company for me to work in a school. It's weird. It's kind of like paid volunteer time.
Yeah.
Volunteering in the
they encourage you with that. I love that they're actually giving you financial in motivation in a lot of ways to say keep relevant, keep your feet on the ground. I love that part of the organization. I don't know of many other orgs out there that are doing that.
Yeah, I mean, that's an amazing thing. And I think, and you used to do something like this when you were in your district, because as a leader, especially once you get out of the classroom, it's the further and further away you get from the clients, quote unquote, that you serve. And you kind of forget what they're going through. So having the opportunity to spend some time in a building, whether it's as a sub, whether it's working with other technology leaders, whatever that is, you still have to have that to connect you back to the work.
Yeah, for me personally, it's a cure-all serum for any type of depression or anxiety. My wife knew it right away when she would see me just struggling at work. She's like, go teach kindergarten today. Go into a classroom and teach third grade. And I would do a couple hours of guest teaching, I would call it. And I still do that with my own kids' classes as a volunteer. But yeah, you walk out, you feel like, okay, this is why we do the work. This is why it's important. The minutia will overburden you at certain times, as you've talked about and I've talked about, but get back to those roots of why it's important. And I think I'm glad that organization kind of encourages that, and I continue to do it myself. So I don't think I'd be able to do the work I did if I'm not always in a classroom at least once every month or so.
I mean, I encourage all tech leaders, if you have a space that's your office space is very tech heavy, spend a little money out your budget, blow up some pictures of the kids doing stuff in the buildings and post them up in your office space, because you get so caught up in the wires and the pliers, or the your Microsoft, your LMS, your whatever, you have all those things that you forget the kids sometimes. So having those pictures up there, whether you had something for computer science week or you did coding camp, whatever those things are, just regular stuff happening in the classroom, get some of those great photos of real things happening in your district of your kids. Blow those things up poster size and put them all around the office, because those are those things when, as you said, when you're getting at your wit's end, when someone's just aggravated you to the umpteenth degree, looking up and seeing that kid smiling, holding their iPad or their Chromebook or doing a flip. All those things are like, oh yeah, that's why I'm doing this work for those kids. That's very important.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how the season progresses with you in this new role. And of course, that also affords us some more opportunities to collaborate. So I know that you and I are going to be gathering together at FETC, probably not too long after this episode drops in late January, to do a live version of the podcast. And we've done several, but we've only posted a couple. This one we are going to post. It will be on the actual during the season. So we're not going to give away all the goods. But
it's a mega session.
It is a mega session. And it's not just us saying that. I mean, it actually says the word mega session. So I'm not quite sure what that means.
We got to do the voice change. Mega.
And we'll go into round one. So there's a lot to cover this season, man. I mean, let's look back just briefly, because it's been a few months and not a lot happens. Of course, in the tech industry, the things fly by fast. And we started last season with the proposed purchase of Twitter by Elon Musk, and there was back and forth and back and forth. And I know this is tech, social media stuff, but it does affect us in schools because a lot of us use social media, a lot of us use Twitter. Is it over? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people post like, here's my Mastodon account, or go over to K-12 Leaders, my social platform, or whatever. People are leaving. Is this it for Twitter? I mean, again, we'll get into the Musk thing when we get to FETC, but what do you think? What's your thoughts on Twitter right now? Are you still on it? Are you still using it? And do you see it ending or just changing?
I'm still on it. I look at it this way. I think educators have created their own special place, their own community on Twitter. So I think if you are on Twitter for your own circle, your own pocket, I think it's going to be there for you. But if you look at it as how we initially had it, where it was this tool that you use to get information, almost like your own personal RSS feed. I can get news funneled to me. I can learn about things. I think where we are now, it's changed because we talked about this before about how these algorithms and various things work, and the experience that you get on Twitter or Facebook is totally different than somebody else,
right?
Because they feed you certain things based on this algorithm. So if you have a difference of political opinions in someone, you're not going to see those dissenting views because it's only going to give you what you want to see. And so I think when you start looking at those things, the way Twitter is going down that rabbit hole and paying for checks and it's not as, I can't as a educator tell people, hey, get on Twitter and you can learn so much. I can say, okay, get on and follow these people, and there's some great information going out, but it's changed.
Yeah.
And not necessarily bad, it's just changed.
Right. And change can sometimes be bad. Disruption can sometimes be bad. Disruption can sometimes be good. I don't know where it's going to end up yet. I don't know. I'll have to be honest. I'm sort of pessimistic about it, which is unusual for me because I'm always optimistic about most things in life. But as I've been looking just lately at some of the changes and some of the tweaks and just seeing people that I know and respect kind of bounce off the program, I'm like, well, I mean, if they're all leaving, my thinking is, do we leave too? Or do so I'm not, for one, I'm going to hold off and see and kind of see where it shakes out. I've spent, like you, I spent a lot of my time and energy building a community there, and it'd be sad. I feel like it'd almost be like, I don't know, losing a career again if I just left it. So I'm going to keep it around. But again, I'm putting a lot more of my energy into other things like my own platform and kind of growing that along with, Instagram, and even TikTok this year. Yeah, I know. Like crazy. Stay tuned for the TikTok album of the UnDisruptEd TikTok channel as it comes out. And of course, Adam's OnlyFans or OnlyHands account, which we always have to make sure we drop in at some point during the season. But
all about them knuckles.
What else? What else are you hearing out there? What else? Some other trends that are coming out these days that you're hearing about since we've been apart?
Well, here's the thing: people are losing their gosh darn minds right now over AI. It's one of those things you're seeing a lot with the Chat GPT that's out there right now. School systems are like, oh my gosh, kids are going to be writing papers with AI. They're writing songs, they're doing all this stuff. Is all original thought gone? Are computers creating everything now? Am I even real? Is this even my real voice?
Yeah.
Who knows? It could be an AI right now. You're not even listening to me. I'm actually in the bed sleeping, and an AI is doing my work for me.
We haven't quite gotten there yet. I'm going to ask it right now. What's a good name for a podcast episode about technology? And let's see what it spits out. Okay, we're going to see what it says. What's a good name for a podcast episode about technology? It's going to say, it's thinking. There are many possible names for a podcast episode about technology, and the best name will depend on specific focus and tone of the episode. Here's a few suggestions. Tech Talk, the latest and greatest in the world of technology. The future of technology, a deep dive into emerging trends. Tech 101, a beginner's guide to understanding technology. And number 4, UnDisruptEd by Adam and Carl. Boom. See, the Adam knows what it's talking about. No, maybe not. It wasn't all that good. Yes. And it says, remember that a good title could be descriptive, interesting, and catchy, and should give listeners a sense of what they can expect from this episode. Well, we failed in that sense with our episodes, but I did ask it how to make a really good smoked old fashioned and how to smoke brisket. And both times it spit out very generic recipes. I was like, oh, we're still safe. I'm marked safe from artificial intelligence. It can't do that layer of flavor of humanistic, artistic quality quite yet.
But it's one of those things when I look at it, you know, half full, half empty. When you have an AI doing these things, if someone is, of course, if you're asking them to write a paper, they're dumping in their topic, they're printing off directly, not printing, but they're submitting directly what the computer gives them, then of course problem. But how many of us, let's take ourselves, I'm just speaking for me. I know I've done this. Use something as inspiration.
Oh,
Think
I
about music. How many songs that are original songs were based off of something else? It was like it may have been an intro for a song, and it was a throwaway piece.
right,
A drum riff at the very beginning. Someone takes that little drum riff at the very beginning of a song, and they make that their entire drum line for a song.
right.
So they were inspired by original piece, and they modified it. So if you're taking some of these pieces, like for the Chat GPT, and you're using that as your foundation, your base, some because we all have our strengths and weaknesses. Let's talk about writing.
Yeah,
There are some people that just struggle at writing for whatever reason. It doesn't mean they're not smart. It doesn't mean they don't have the aptitude. They just struggle at writing. But that writing may be the thing that gives them an opportunity to get in the door at a place.
right.
So if there's a tool out there that can get them closer to getting in that door, yeah, I'm not saying it's right, wrong, and different, but hey, it's an opportunity.
It's funny how whenever anything new is introduced in terms of multimedia technology or anything, we have like the opposite view of reactions. It's a ban it, kick it out, we don't want it, versus the how do we use it, embrace it. I remember Pokemon Go back in 2017. It was like,
Yep.
oh, kids are going to be stumbling around on school campuses, and we got to watch out for they're playing on their phones all the time. And then it's like, oh no, we can use it as a way to get them to get exercise in. They got to go around and hunt these little things out, right? But
The crazy one I saw was like it'll be a child predator on the playground trying to catch a Pokemon. It's like what?
yeah, we go to
Reach.
extremes. We do, and I mean, there's nothing. Yeah, I agree. I think especially for the writing component, you still have to be able to ask really good questions if you really want a high quality response. What I've noticed, just saying, how do you make an old fashioned? I mean, it spits out just a generic episode, but if you generic recipe, but if you asked it like specifically, like how do you make a smoked old fashioned using a particular type of rye? For me, particularly, I won't say which one because they aren't a sponsor of the show, but then it maybe
Yeah.
see what it comes out, or using an ice ball, or something. You have to give it specifics, and the more specific you ask the question, the more specific the answer is. So in some ways, teaching some critical thinking and critical questioning skills, that could be increased as a result of the AI. But yeah, I think remains to be seen, along with the craze of digital art that we saw. I don't know if did you do this to your Facebook? I mean, everybody else, I seemed like every other person I saw on Facebook had a bunch of these Lensa AR avatar faces. You guys have such amazing family photos that I don't think there's any reason for you to do any type of thing, because your wife arranges these amazing, epically just grand, like, makes the rest of us just feel like slackers. But so there's no reason to do it.
We'll insert the picture right here.
No.
If you're viewing
Yes.
on the YouTube, you can check out the picture.
I don't know why DJ horned it. But yeah, have you seen all these? I mean, what's your thought on the Lensa stuff?
Like, I have not done that personally. I did download the app. But one thing that's really cool with it, not necessarily the AI inspired imagery, but the way it analyzes your photo. And we all go in and I don't know. I'm not a photo person, but I to keep sliding the thing down till I get something that I like. I mean,
Yeah,
lighting
and filters. Yeah.
But it really does a really great job of analyzing your photo and doing all that on the back end using their AI and giving you suggestions. So that's one piece that's really cool for photo editing, that it will do as far as even removing characters from your picture. You've seen the different apps that will do it. This one will do it for you. I mean, it'll just scan your image. Like, okay, this is like something that's in the background that takes away from the main image. We'll take that out. It's crazy to think about that it's that smart to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I did see this thing. I used to collect comic books, so I can appreciate a great artist. And I saw a campaign with comic book artists about some of this AI inspired art, because what's happening now is you can write the comic using something like a Chat GPT, the basic storyline, and then in turn you can insert in this component and it will now draw the images for you to match what you have written or what has been written. And so it's getting kind of like, hey, you're phasing us out of this process because now, we all, well, they've used computers to make artwork and draw, whether you're using like some kind of Wacom tablet or an app on your iPad. So technology, you're using technology to draw, but the technology isn't doing the drawing. Now you're getting to the point with this stuff becoming so smart, you can tell it, hey, I want a scene of Spider-Man fighting Dr. Octopus falling out of a building, and it will create
Draw
that
it.
image for you.
Yeah, and so I could see as an artist why you would be a little concerned about it. I actually, while you were talking, I typed in what's a comic, write a comic about a tech leader, and it's actually writing out a whole story with like a scenes and everything. Like, scene: a large conference room with a long table and several chairs. Everyone's sitting around the table, including a woman with short blonde hair and a smart suit, who's standing at the head of the table. The blonde woman says, "Welcome everyone to the quarterly meeting of Tech Corp. As CEO, it's my job to inform you about the latest developments in our company." A man with glasses and his laptop raises his hand. Anyway, it's still going. I mean, like, while I'm talking, it's like writing out the then end scene, like at some point. I
I'm
don't
glad it
understand
said
how
a
this is a
smart
comic.
suit.
Yeah.
What's there between a smart suit and a dumb suit? I just wonder, what's there between
I think you can interact with it. Is it like you tell the suit to like, "Suit, button up my," yeah. No, it's not that
like
kind of
Iron
smart.
Man?
Oh, yeah. See, comics tie it all together. Well, what do we got? What do we got upcoming this season? What are we going to be tackling? What are some issues we should be tackling this season? I know we got a lot of things we've covered over past seasons. We kind of tended to shift focus some years, some seasons on different things. What are some things we should be hitting on this year?
Well, one of the things I know we're going to be hitting on, and it kind of ties back to what we stated earlier about me leaving my job. We are seeing some changes happening in leadership across the country. You're having, whether it's with principals, technology leaders, curriculum leaders, superintendents, you are seeing some institutional knowledge that's leaving with our profession. So one thing we're going to talk about is, how to prepare these incoming leaders to be able to excel and exceed in these various roles that they're in, because a lot of times these are people who haven't had the experience. They're coming in and they need to learn a lot. And we want to make sure we can provide some resources to them in this podcast. So that's one thing, we're going to throw out there.
Yeah, and if we don't have the answer, we'll just ask the Chat GPT. But yeah, we can. How do we encourage leaders? Now I can see why people are hooked on this thing. It's like, oh, it's fun. Let's see what else it'll spit out. I think also, ESSER funds we've talked about in the years past. They're coming. We're kind of getting close to maybe possibly a cliff with that. I know they've kind of bumped a little bit of it back up. I'm hoping, that some part of that stays around. When I say hope, I mean, I know you said this in the past in other episodes, like, don't just hope, go out and actually fight for it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some tech leaders are going to start really feeling the pinch here pretty soon in the next year or two, because I think 2024 is really when it all ends. But we're going to have to start talking about that, like all the great things and all the momentum and all the movement we took with the pandemic. Is it all for naught, because it's all going to go back away anyway?
Yeah, that's a big component, because we talked about that. So we're like, what are we doing? And with that, also ways that tech leaders, school systems can really highlight what they've been able to do with those dollars, because
Yeah.
that's something that's really important. So that's one of the things we're going to touch on this year. And with all this technology, with all the devices and everyone connected, there's a lot of information out there. So a topic that's always something that we hear in technology: data privacy.
Yep.
How much do you share? I mean, this may be going back to the Lenza. What all are you giving
Yes.
away when you are, having a computer generated image of self, when you're deep faking yourself? I mean, what all are you giving away in that? I don't know. I haven't read the terms and conditions.
I
I haven't
did.
done it yet either.
I did. And that's why I didn't do it, because it's like they have access to your face. They can copyright. I mean, it's all theirs. They own it. They can commercialize on it. They can totally benefit from it. But you're surrendering all those rights, which, believe it or not, we probably do in a lot of these apps. But I feel like the AI facial ones, I don't know why, but that to me like crosses my own line. Not that I care what my face. I mean, I don't like my face anyway, but I don't want to see some artistic version of it that someone's going to make money on it. Come on now. But I also think, to talk about data privacy, I know there has been since you and I have last spoke, I think in the summer it really started, and then it kind of bubbled up in the fall, was this concern of all the programs that are kind of doing student monitoring, and where's the line with that? And like, when with especially dealing with minors, and this from your role that you just left, and I knew it from my role that I had, which is there's times when you're put in a really awkward position because you maybe saw, heard, witnessed, or had access to somewhere, a website that a kid was trying to get access to, that now has come up on your purview. And now how do you report that, and what do you report it? And if it's some self-harm or things like that, threat detection, I think that's probably, people would say that's a good thing. But then other people are like, well, if you're outing them for maybe some gender preference or anything like that, or gender questioning, that could also be a dangerous line. So that's a tricky one to me. I don't know
Yeah.
where you fall on all of that, but that's going to be a hard one.
Well, that too, and also the funding for all this stuff.
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit with Esther. More technology requires more financial resources. It's more than just a free puppy.
Yeah.
Because and there's having a COVID dog. It's the one price you pay for the dog,
Yeah.
but it's the gift that keeps on giving. Whether you have to get shots, whether you have the little pet insurance, all those
update the
things.
OS. Yeah, have a better case. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, exactly. The kids are supposed to walk
So,
the dog, though, Adam. That's why we got the dog, so the kids would walk it. The
mm,
kids do not walk the dog.
yes, when the kids walk the dog, I end up stepping in stuff. So that's why I walk the dog
Yeah,
to make sure
you have to
it's
walk it
cleaned up.
and clean up the mess. That's what tech leaders pretty much do on a regular basis with this
Yes,
stuff. Walk it and clean up the mess.
but
Yeah,
that's one of the pieces to talk about being future ready as a tech leader. You have to think about all these things that are going to come in the future based on what you've done. You almost have to be a precog.
yes, a
You did
minority report.
something, yes,
Yeah, nice, well
because
done.
of this. Here are all these various things that could happen based on this purchase, and so it's your job to present that case to your boards of ed, to your superintendent or whomever, to make sure that you have done that whole CYA thing, because at the end of cover your assets, because you don't want to be in a situation where you don't have a plan in place if something happens. So with cybersecurity, at one point it used to be a pink slip event. If you got compromised, everybody got fired. But what we see now, it's becoming so commonplace, is not necessarily a fireable event if you did what you needed to do on the front end. Because let's be honest, the folks out there who are trying to get into spaces, that's all they do.
Yeah,
This is something in addition to everything else that we do in schools. Most school districts don't have a cybersecurity expert on staff. You rely on your vendor or some third party to keep you abreast, your state, provide some guidance. But by and large, you're figuring it out as you go. And there's people who are just trying to take what they can all the time from you. So that's one of those things where having a plan helps out. And once again, a plug for this with the All for Ed Future Ready Leadership Cohort. We're going to discuss this and many other topics.
oh wait, it goes off again.
I've been working on that.
Yeah, you got to work on. We got to work on the plug. Okay. Well, I do think we'll have, and we're going to have, of course, some exciting guests on this season. Adam and I have brainstormed quite the list for this year. We're going to have to figure out where we're going to fit them all in. Honestly, some amazing people to talk about these topics and what their lens and what their view is on all of these topics that we've hit on. But as we like to do at the beginning of the year, whenever we have a season that starts right around the New Year's, is let's do some bold predictions. Adam, do we have some dramatics? Oh, bold predictions by Adam and Carl. What do you think's going to happen this year?
Our bold predictions, or it was going to be for some cologne.
Yeah. Essence of tech leader. Yes. You want the smell of Cat 6 cable? Adam's fingers will help you guide the way. Just follow him on Adam's Knuckles at onlyhands.com. Okay, so predictions for the new year. What you got? Let's just do a couple rapid fire. I'm in the middle of writing an article that I like to do every year. That's my bold prediction. So this will come out probably after that. But give me a couple. What are some things you think that'll happen this year in tech, in ed tech, and education in general?
Well, here's a prediction that I kind of got right. I'm just gonna pat myself on the back right now. I tried to told y'all about Elon Musk. Y'all didn't want to listen to me. I told you. I've been telling you. I've been telling the whole world. Okay.
He's a Bond supervillain. I mean, we will find that episode. It was like early on in our first couple of seasons where you said that. I will find that.
I'm
And I was
telling
like,
you.
no, the spaceman is great. He brings us internet. If this goes out on his
Now,
platform, we'll probably get banned.
I know. So here is my bold prediction. You will have a bipartisan bill passed to expand E-rate and improve connectivity to households in America. Bold prediction.
Insider knowledge there. You were in DC just recently. Rubbing elbows
No.
with the likes of no.
No.
No, that is a bold prediction. The bipartisan part, especially. I'm always hopeful. I mean, I feel like maybe at some point we'll come back around to bipartisanship. My bold prediction is that one of the two of us, will publish a book this year. And it better be you, because I'm not ready to write again. I'm still in the middle of my Ready Set Fail world tour. So it's going to be you, man.
Yeah, it will be ready and in people's hands by ISTE. That's how it's happening.
You heard it here first, folks. That's right.
So I got a little sidetracked. That was a big announcement at the end of last season.
I remember
but,
that.
I decided to get a new job. And so, it just took up a little time. Took a little bit more time than I thought it would.
Yeah, I was hoping it'd be out by now, but that's okay. You make us wait. You're like George R.R. Martin. Eventually, you'll finish the Game of Thrones series. Yes. We all never know. But, well, folks, we are happy to have you guys back with us this season. Like I said, lots of great guests, lots of great topics coming up. If there are ideas or topics that you would like us to talk about on a future show, check us out on our Facebook group page. Follow us on Twitter. You can always use the hashtag UnDisruptEd as well. If you're still on Twitter, you can find me at Carl on K-12 Leaders, my social platform. We're still building that out. But I want to thank you all for joining us each and every season. We can't do this without your support, and we love it when we come out to our live shows and people come up to us and talk to us about, we heard this episode, we love it, and they remember the tagline and they shout it out. And so we're excited about FETC getting ready to do that on the mega stage. So thank you for joining us. Be sure to subscribe, give us a review. We'd appreciate it. Might even give you a shout out on a future show. This has been the UnDisruptEd podcast, brought to you by All for Ed. He's Adam, and you can follow him at AskAdam3 on Twitter still.
And still on Twitter. And he's Carl, and you can follow him at Mr. Hooker. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are better together.
And we are better UnDisruptEd.